AI makes us less reflexive, and then it will bounce back and find its place so that it adds to our reflexivity. But I do believe that some of the research that's out right now that AI is making us less reflexive is a danger. No doubt about that. So you need to use it right in leadership and in every other sense.
For sure. I agree with that. I was thinking that the role of AI is actually, I could argue that it's pushing towards what you're talking about, because a lot now with AI and a lot of the tools that have been generated, the lower skill, lower knowledge jobs, and I know ChatGPT passed the bar and that's not a low level knowledge job, but generally speaking, the jobs that are immediately at risk are the jobs that are lower knowledge management, right? Probably
jobs.
not too far in the future, all driving is going to be autonomous. And so that's a whole lot of jobs that have been wiped out. And so one of the implications of AI may be that essentially if you are going to have a job, you're getting pushed into being a knowledge worker, because knowledge workers, they got the stuff in their head. They're not going to be directed. Like, they're the expert. You have to convince them that they want to take what's in their head and apply to the organization, because we can't force it out of them. Nope. And so in that sense, it is pulling us towards what you're saying, which is a flatter organization where we share decision making instead of having it centralized and directed. So I can see that element of the AI happening. And so anyway, that was one of the thoughts that kind of triggered. So it's happening. I think you're right. I think it's happening already. And the technology disruption is probably going to be a large part of the reason why it occurs. And I think that's going to happen across the board.
Yeah, but I think that we also see trends that intimacy and localization and human connection is a value driver. So I agree, but I do believe that we will see large-scale shifts like you talk about with the drivers. We will also see new jobs emerging.
Yeah, but there'll be knowledge.
We'll see, and you will see value creation, saying people who are engaged now in transactional work, transactional knowledge work, processing numbers or letters, they will optimize their way of working, allowing a different kind of value creation. So there will always be an optimization, efficiency gain, and then there is a value creation development. And those shifts are happening very fast right now. So we're not replacing right now all of the shifts fast enough with new value creation. So I think that's one of the challenges.
I don't know how you would actually balance that. That would be a miracle of, landing the plane without an engine and no wheels and maybe one wing. I mean, that would really be remarkable if we could.
We'll get together and then we'll figure it out, and then we'll have a very interesting episode on how we solve the world's problems.
Exactly. But I do think you're right. It's good times. It's going to be full of change. But there's it's like any of the change. It's scary at the start because you don't know all the ways that it will impact everything. Clearly, it's going to impact everything.
I agree.
But usually, we're co-evolving, and our systems and people need to be able to survive. And so this is going to have to evolve in a way that still allows for human beings to live. Putting Terminator aside.
And I truly believe it will. because we've seen it in the development of humanity, that we've had large-scale shifts. We have never faced that where we haven't been talking about, this is unprecedented. It's totally going to change the world. And it is, no doubt about that. We will also see some bad examples. We've seen that every time we've got new technology breakthroughs. And I do believe that from a leadership perspective, we need to understand and try to embrace some of the upsides and be wary of not trying to use it for something it should not be used for. But I think that we need to be part of the development. That's also why, what's the purpose of the book? The purpose of the book is to improve leadership. So converting it into a bot makes it more accessible. Is that cannibalizing the book? I don't care, because my mission is to improve leadership. I took the book and started developing what's called CLI. That's the one that's at the bottom behind me, which is a contextual leadership AI bot. It's the book and the research behind the book. And there is a tool, a validated tool to measure leadership context that was developed after I did the doctorate. And behind that, there is a report generator that spits out a report, 16 pages with advice on what are you going to do if your context is like that and where's the misalignment. That's also fed into the bot. So that means that what we've experienced now, we've been working with the bot for a little over a year now, is that if you have a leadership team, 3, 4, 5 people, you help them introduce the bot. Then before they tee up the organizations about how we're going to realign so that we can empower the organization more, or get more discipline, or get more throughput, or reduce the number of accidents we have by increasing the safety culture, or whatever component they find, what should we do something about? They have an individual session with client, 5-10 minutes as the start of the meeting. Then they close computers and then they start the discussions. That bumps up their start knowledge about what could be addressed, what could be the levers, how could we approach this? And that has turned out to be a very, very powerful way of infusing knowledge that really qualifies the discussion.
That's really interesting. You'd mentioned that in one of our previous conversations that you'd been working on a bot, but I like the application.
You can never take the human factor out of it. So, but it might take you, lift your solutions 10, 15%. And that's a lot when we look at the organizational measures.
You much lower percent is still worth it. I mean, anything that helps speed you up in terms of figuring out what's going on. Yeah, I mean, and then if it can guide you into like what you have to focus, I mean, like that's a major helpful tool.